Let's bring in Kurt Volker now. He's Distinguished Fellow at the Center for European Policy Analysis. He's also the former US Special Representative for Ukraine negotiations. He joins us live now from Georgia. Ambassador, thanks so much for your time. Let's begin on the latest escalation that we've seen and Russia's most recent assault on Ukraine. How dangerous is the situation now, and what do you think this latest provocation, this latest attack actually reflects?
Well, thank you so much, Dan, and great to be with you. You opened this segment by saying this was a show of strength by Russia. And I would argue instead that it's a show of weakness. They are not able to advance and take Ukrainian territory anymore. Putin's goal was to take over Ukraine, replace the government, have someone in Ukraine that was subordinate to Moscow. That's simply not going to happen. And Ukrainians have made tremendous inroads taking territory back. And so this is the kind of thing that Putin has to resort to. He only really can lob missiles or bombs at cities and terrorize civilians. He's not able actually to affect the course of the war anymore. So I think this kind of reaction by him was expected, and something that we in the West need to do a lot more to help the Ukrainians with their defenses. These attacks are fairly unpredictable, partly because they're using dumb bombs alongside smart bombs where they can't even control where they land. So Ukraine definitely needs a lot more on the air defense side and needs more help to help finish this war more quickly.
As you've heard, these latest missile strikes also come after the explosion on the Kerch Bridge. This is being seen as a very strategic and personal blow to Vladimir Putin, given how significantly he was involved in that project. Of course, that bridge linking Russia and occupied Crimea. I know it's a big question, Ambassador, but how do you see the war evolving from here, and at what stage are we at right now?
Right. Well, first off, as you indicated, the Ukrainians have not taken credit for bombing the bridge, but I think we all have to assume that they did. And the purpose of that is, unfortunately, it bruises Vladimir Putin's ego, but the purpose is to disrupt the supply lines. This is one of the major ways that Russia provides military equipment, ammunition, and fuel for its forces that are fighting and killing Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians are taking that out. I think we are going to see that continue. Efforts by the Ukrainians to make sure that the Russian forces deployed in Ukraine are not able to sustain themselves, that they have a very difficult winter, and this lays the conditions for Ukraine taking back its territory later this year, some of it, more of it next year.
What we're also going to see today is the UAE president meeting with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, in Moscow. What do you think the ultimate and end goal of the UAE leader is here? What would he like to achieve as a result of this visit, given the important role that he plays as one of the last intermediaries, one of the last world leaders to have actual contact with Vladimir Putin at this stage?
Yeah, well, first off, I think it's good that Putin is talking to some people, at least, because I think he is operating in a bit of a bubble created by his own military and security establishment. So getting some outside views is important. I think that what MBZ needs to convey is that this war is not going to work out in Putin's favor. For one, there's no way he's going to subordinate Ukraine, so he needs to end it as quickly as possible. Second, there's a great deal of concern in the world about the atrocities committed by Russian forces, and that just strengthens the resolve of those who are opposing Putin. So that's also a very bad tactic. And then finally, we need to be looking beyond the war. We need to be thinking about reconstruction and redevelopment of markets, stabilizing the energy markets, of building again. Putin has to learn to live with Ukraine as a neighbor in order for that to happen. So I think these would be all good messages if that is indeed what he conveys.